Good evening, everyone. I've got 6:30, so if everybody wants to take their seats, we'll get going. All right, so good evening, everyone. Bear with me here. We haven't done this for a couple of years, so procedurally we're trying to remember exactly the things we need to do. We're a little rusty in that regard. So the first thing I would like to do is if everybody would stand up and we'll do the Pledge of Allegiance. There is a flag in the back of the room there. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. As you are all aware, this is the district budget meeting. Like I said, we haven't done this for a couple of years. I think the last time we did this was for the 2019-20 budget. First order of business, and I'm going to run the slides here too. The purpose of this meeting is for the residents to have an opportunity to have a say on the budget that goes out to referendum. It is a process. We have the clerks back there for voting purposes, but that is the purpose of the meeting. At this time, I would like to take an opportunity and introduce our board members. To my left, I've got Robbie Gayton, who's the vice chair. I've got Bob English, who is the chair of the board. I've got Jen Waterman, Vicki Russell, Diane Whalen, and Jill Bouchard. Also, I think it's important to introduce our administrators. I'm Andy Carlton, I'm your superintendent. And then we've got Kathy Martin, the assistant superintendent. We've got Jessica Colum, who's our new business manager. Nancy Dwyer, who's our special ed director, who's not here this evening. We've got John Barney, who's our new director of operations. Norma Jean Audette, who's our technology director, who is here. Marco Aliberti, principal here at Oak Hill High School. Samantha Garnett-Sias, who's the assistant principal here at Oak Hill High School. Jim Palmer, who is our adult ed and athletic director currently. Ben Wilson, principal of Oak Hill Middle School. Amy St. Pierre, principal of Oak Hill Middle School and Sabattis Primary. Amy St. Pierre, who's a assistant principal at Oak Hill Middle School and Sabattis Primary. Jamie Ela, who's principal of Carrie Ricker and Libby Tozier. And Dustin Miles, who's assistant principal at Carrie Ricker School and Libby Tozier School. Thank you all. So we will have 16 warrant articles to vote on tonight. A couple of them will be by paper ballot. Most of them will be by show of hands. If you have not registered with your town clerk back there, please do that now. If not, and if you have, thank you. So at this time, the first thing we have to do is elect a moderator. So I will take nominations for a moderator for this meeting. Robbie?
Andy, I'd like to nominate Randall Greenwood.
I have a nomination for Randy Greenwood. I've got a second back there for Randy. Do I have any other nominations? At this time, I will see that nominations cease. The polls are open. I need at least 3 residents to go back and vote. If you need assistance voting, please ask, but I do need 3 people to go back and vote. Anyone else care to vote? If not, I will call the ballot box closed. Randy is voted as our moderator. So at this time, Randy, if you would come up here and I will swear you in. All right, if you would raise your right hand, please. I, Randy Greenwood,
I, Randall Greenwood,
do swear
do swear
that I will faithfully discharge,
that I will faithfully discharge,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
the duties incumbent on me as moderator
the duties incumbent on me as moderator
of this annual budget meeting,
of this annual budget meeting,
according to the Constitution and laws of the state,
according to the Constitution and laws of this state,
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that of this state,
and that of this state,
so long as I shall continue a citizen thereof.
so long as I shall continue a citizen thereof.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, sir. It's your movie.
Where was your list of things?
What's that?
Because there was the ballot clerks.
Oh, you swear in the ballot. Go ahead. So if you guys-
At this time, thank you very much for your support and your vote. At this time, could I have the ballot clerks come to the podium to be sworn in? I know you've done this before. If you could raise your right hand. You raise your right hand, repeat after me, and I will say state your name, and then you actually state the name. I state your name. Do swear that I faithfully discharge to the best of my ability the duties incumbent upon me as the clerk of the annual budget meeting according to the Constitution and laws of the state, and that I will support the Constitution of the United States and of this state, so long as I shall continue a citizen thereof. So help me God. All right. All right. Okay. You could print your name, sign. I have pens if you need. Of course. Thank you, thank you. You are discharged. Patty, you are not discharged. Can you print your name there? Very good. Can you bring that up on the slide, that list of non-residents? It's right here.
And then before we get to the first article, I'd like to make a brief statement if I could, Mr. Moderator.
Okay. I'm going to recognize you for a motion. You're going to move and read that list
Okay.
into the mic and ask that those are non-residents may be allowed to speak. Good call. All right. I recognize Mr. English for a motion.
Mr. Moderator, I would move that the following non-resident individuals be allowed to speak should they be called upon. Andrew Carlton, Marco Aliberti, Kathy Martin, Jessica Colomb, John Varney, Jamie Allen, Dustin Miles, Amy St. Pierre, Norma Jean Audette, Jen Palmer, Nancy Dwyer, Samantha Garrett, Says.
Garnett.
Garnett, or Garnett, yes, Says, I'm sorry.
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been seconded. Any questions or discussion? The motion was to allow non-residents to speak, should they be called upon. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor, please raise your paddles. Those opposed? That motion carries. Just a housekeeping announcement. We will be using the main moderator's manual, A Guide to Town Meeting, the 7th edition, as our guide for tonight's meeting. Should there be a procedural question that is not answered in there, we will be using Robert's Rules of Order, newly revised, the 11th edition, as a second. The Chair recognizes Mr. English for a brief statement.
Thank you all for coming. I wanted to take this opportunity, as tomorrow is Mr. Carlton's last day as our superintendent. He's been with this school unit and district for a number of years, from an ed tech many years ago to vice principal, principal, assistant superintendent, and superintendent for the last 5 years. He's leaving us to become the town manager of Gardner. And I would like, on behalf of myself, and I think of every board member that has had the opportunity to serve on this board and previous boards when we weren't all unified, to congratulate him on his new job and thank him for the services he has provided to these communities and the children and parents of this community. It's going to be a real loss for us and a real gain for Gardner, but I want to publicly thank him for all that he's contributed to Litchfield, Sabattis, and Wales over his time working in RSU4 and our predecessor school districts. So thank you very much.
All right, we jumping into Article 2, or was there a presentation? No presentation. Okay. Article 2, to see what sum Regional School Unit Number 4 shall be authorized to expend for regular instruction. The Board of Directors recommends $7,449,377.
So moved.
Motion, please.
So moved.
It has been moved. Is there a second? It has been seconded. Questions or discussion? Yes, sir. Each individual article, there was no presentation scheduled.
So the majority, just briefly, I'll address this. You know, this budget is up significantly over year, about a little over 1.7 million. Almost 1.5 of it is contracted salary and benefits. The rest of it is increases in fuel costs and supply costs and a few other repairs that need to be done. Sorry, yes, there are 2 new positions in this budget. There's an educational technician for GT, gifted and talented, and in this budget there's also a new position for an ELL ed tech, that's English language learners.
Any further questions? We're going to see, I wasn't able to hear you. Can you repeat?
Would this be the right time to talk about the BHI positions we discussed at the last meeting?
Yes, yes, if you were looking to add money to this budget line and you were we had discussed the behavioral health, the behavioral interventionist, this would be the place to do that.
I'd just like to offer the opinion I'd prefer that we did. I don't know who else is out there to support it. You know, looking at the numbers on this, we're talking about less than $1 a week for vast majority of folks in the district to support that. And if we don't ask, we're not going to get it.
I guess my question is, are you making an amendment? Because you made a statement, but it really wasn't anything further.
I don't know the process real well, I suppose. I would be interested in adding that or offering it out for discussion if there's anyone else in support of it.
Mr. English?
Yes, sir. So I think maybe if, to help the discussion, if you had a ballpark figure for what each of those positions or a position like that would cost, then you could decide to amend the motion to include whatever position or number of position dollar amount, and then that would be proposed as an amendment to the motion, and then it would carry on discussion. So I don't know offhand what that dollar amount is on average per that type of position. Perhaps that can be provided, and then it would give you some information for further discussion.
So in the meeting, I believe it was last month, we talked about possibly 3 of those positions at around $87,630, including salary and benefits each. It would be about $262,891 in total to add 3 of them. So I would offer to amend the budget to add that 3 positions for approximately $262,891.
All right, we're computing the actual number that would be in place of the one that's there.
I've got the handout there from our meeting over at the district office. Do you want to see that?
And we're just adding the current number and that number together to come up with a new number that would be the amended amount.
Sure.
7,712,000. I've got it right here. So it's 7 million. Yeah, I've got that.
All right, so if I understand correctly, your amendment is to add $262,891 to the original article amount, bringing the amendment amount to $7,712,268. Can you confirm that is your motion? Excuse me, that is your amendment.
That is the amendment I'd like to make.
Is there a second? There is a second. Now we can discuss.
Can you just clarify, because you used initials? I don't think everybody here might know what you're asking for. So could you just clarify what you're asking for?
It's behavioral health interventionists. In the last meeting, we had talked about some behavioral issues that have come up, some possibly related to the whole COVID and time away from school, some possibly not related. And I don't recall exactly who. Someone who was part of the meeting was discussing that this is unlikely to be an item that would just go away. It's probably going to carry through with these students throughout their academic careers rather than just a year or two of fix.
Any other questions or discussion?
Particularly clear as to what the impact of each individual towns is. And I was hoping we could have an overview of that before we start adding money.
Are you prepared to talk about the overview?
I can talk about the impact. Sure, I can talk about the impact. So the original budget as proposed prior to this amendment, there was a mistake in the budget book. The revenue from FY22 was incorrect, so consequently it changed the variances amounts. But the impact is the variance is this for each town. Where is it here? I don't have my glasses. I apologize.
Can I borrow mine?
What's that? Yes, thank you. So for Litchfield, the variance year over year is $509,387. Sabattis is $584,231, and for Wales, $224,224. So that is the increase year over year to the assessments to the towns. What that computes to on a $100,000 home Litchfield, 137, and granted, I understand that most homes are worth more than 100,000 now, but it's an easy number to use. $137.52 a year, and these are estimates because mill rates haven't been set yet, but Sabattis, $202.16, and Wales, $180.42. So, and I can't compute on the fly what the amendment would impact it, but it will increase.
Does that answer your question, sir? On the overview, okay. We're going to get back to discussing the amendment that was made to Article 2. Any further discussion on the amended amount?
Had the board discussed this? Had the board discussed this and this was part of the budget?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I think the increase for the three towns is incredible, and I would urge everyone to vote against this amendment.
Any further discussion on the amendment? There's a microphone right behind you.
Excellent. Yeah, Kelly Weisenfels, Litchfield. We're amending the budget to increase the dollar amounts. There was indicated that there was hope that this would be to hire 3 specific types of individuals. Is there a guarantee of that, or does this amendment just increase the budget?
So let me put it this way. You're going to approve a dollar amount, and the board and the administrators are going to use it. However, I do not believe this board or the administrators would ever go against the stated purposes that money is raised for that's voted on by the residents. That, I have never seen that happen when anything's been added, or if something was taken out for a specific thing, it was what was identified to come out was what came out. So, I can't promise because I can't make a decision beforehand on any type of vote, but that was the discussion. If this money is added, as stated for those positions, the board would only support, in my 24, 25 years of experience, only support adding those particular positions that were asked for under this amendment. If we didn't fill them, or if it turned out we didn't hire them all, then that money would just carry over and would not be used to fund some other program unless we ran out of money, and then whatever money we have, we got to spend.
Any further questions on the amendment?
And looking at the budget that has been presented, we're looking at some huge increases. I'm seeing salary increases across the board of 15 and 20% increase. That is ridiculous. And I think adding any more to this is ridiculous. You have a line item in there for social worker. I would think that position would take care of what this gentleman's concerns are.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion?
So the budget that was just presented was unanimously approved by the school board. These positions being added was discussed at a board meeting, but we felt that we already had a pretty significant lift in the current budget, and that we didn't think that the taxpayers would support the addition of these positions. That's why we didn't approve them in. Now, the taxpayers, the residents here, can prove us wrong and approve it or not. We leave that decision up to the taxpayers.
Any further questions or discussion?
So as a parent with a student in the local schools currently, a $50 a year increase for these specific behavioral positions to give our teachers the support they need, with the increase of behaviors that are seen in our schools on a daily basis right now, I believe is needed, and it's a minor amount of tax increase.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion? Next.
Minor is relative.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Microphone coming for you.
Question, we were talking about 3 positions, is that correct?
Yes, the amended amount was for 3 positions totaling $262,891 in addition.
Okay, just wanted to clarify that, thank you.
Any further questions or discussion? Yes, sir.
My name is Gary Parker, and I would agree with Mr. Russell that minor is relative, and there's a multiple amount of people in all 3 towns that don't see that as a minor increase. And the members of some of the towns have spoken to the fact that they can't sustain increases that are coming from our RSU. And that being said, the town of Litchfield and the select board have beat the bushes to get down the amount of increase of tax revenue that has to be raised this year because of the rate of inflation and the irresponsible government that we have. So that being said, I am totally opposed to any more increase in the RSU budget.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion?
There's clearly been some discussion amongst the board members in the meeting about the specific behaviors involved. Could we hear a little bit about the detail rather than currently we just heard a generic, we need it?
So probably Kathy's not here, who's our special, but Kathy Martin, our assistant superintendent, is involved in this a lot. So if Mrs. Martin would want to address what type of disciplinary issues that we've seen in the schools lately.
If you were to spend a day in our schools, you could see children that are eloping in our schools, so they're trying to leave our schools, they're dysregulated. So it takes them some time to learn the different strategies in order to maintain and be able to learn. So our struggle right now is not teaching them the math and the reading and the writing, but we're actually teaching them the executive functioning skills just to be ready to be able to learn. I will say our administrators are working really hard to develop behavior plans with our students and with our families, but we are just seeing an increase on extreme behaviors in our schools. And so, yes, we do have social workers and we do work on that, but there are some things that are happening in our disruptions in our classrooms that is making the learning very difficult for the other children. So it was suggested that a behavior interventionist could help support the teachers and also create those behavior plans for our students so that the entire learning environment is safe and productive.
Thank you. Mr. English?
Yeah, Mrs. Martin, can you address some of the types of specific disciplinary issues that are being seen on a regular basis?
I mean, I certainly would want to have our administrators weigh in, but we are certainly seeing a lot of hitting, like I said, threatening. We are seeing, again, eloping, which means they're just leaving the premises. So we have to make sure we're chasing them, we're getting them. At the higher level, we are seeing substance abuse, vaping, and other more extreme, dangerous behaviors. And as you've seen throughout the year, we've had some different threats and things that we have to address on the daily basis.
Thank you. Any further questions or discussion on Article 2, on the amendment? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor, please raise your placards. Those opposed? The amendment fails. We're now talking about the main motion, which was $7,449,377. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 3, to see what sum Regional School Unit Number 4 shall be authorized to expend for special education. The Board of Directors recommends $3,999,495. Motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? The question was, any new positions? The answer was,
No, not in this line item.
any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 4, to see what sum Regional School Unit Number 4 shall be authorized to expend for other instruction. The Board of Directors recommends $497,389. Motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion?
Definition of what other instruction is, and are there any new positions?
Sure. So other instruction includes co-curricular, extracurricular programs, summer school programming, salaries and benefits and stipends for other instructional staff, such as our team leaders, and purchase services and supplies and equipment for those things such as co-curricular, extracurricular programming. There are no new positions in this line item.
Mr. Russell.
I understood you increased a halftime position to full-time,
Which halftime?
the athletic director?
No, well, yes. So the athletic director has gone to full-time, and we've split. So currently, the current model is athletic director / adult ed director. That job has gotten too big for one person, so we split that into two people. So this line item does have in it a full-time athletic director.
Mr. Moderator, I'd like to offer an amendment, changing the amount to $450,000.
There's an amendment on the floor to make the amount $450,000. Is there a second? It has been seconded. Questions or discussion?
Mr. Russell, could you explain what the $47,000 that you were asking should be taken from? What program or person?
I would assume that it was pretty obvious that reduce it back to halftime.
Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. The amended amount is $450,000. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion fails. The motion on the the amendment fails. The motion on the floor is $497,389. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 5, to see what sum Regional School Unit Number 4 shall be authorized to expend for student and staff support. The Board of Directors recommends $2,547,779. Motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 6, to see what sum Regional School Unit Number 4 shall be authorized to expend for system administration. The Board of Directors recommends $842,780. Motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 7, to see what sum Regional School Unit Number 4 shall be authorized to expend for school administration. The Board of Directors recommends $1,030,202. Motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or discussion?
I realize I should have asked this sooner when we were talking salaries, but I'd like a rationale from this board as to how you can justify 22,000 or 15 and 20% increases in salaries. I worked in a profession for 50 years, not this profession. I never saw anything for anyone with it come close to any of that kind of, let alone in the public sector. And that was a private firm.
Question on the floor to anybody who may be able to answer.
I guess all I could say is that we were required to negotiate contracts comparing what our salary scales were to other school districts in the area, and especially those of similar size and responsibilities. These are the salaries that were agreed upon by the bargaining unit and by the school board as being fair for our staff. They are a result of some prior contracts where both parties agreed to hold the line, trying to keep taxes down. And as we know in our own personal lives, if we cut on everything for a long time, eventually we have to catch up. And this is kind of one of those years that we need to get our staff paid what they are worth compared to other people in the same industry doing the same job in this area around here. So that's really what the salary increases are based upon. You will not find that our salaries are higher probably at all of other surrounding districts, and if there are higher than one or two districts, they're not significantly higher.
Any further questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 8, to see what sum Regional School Unit Number 4 shall be authorized to expend for transportation and buses. The Board of Directors recommends $1,251,231. Motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or discussion?
Yeah, I just make a comment. This was a real guess on fuel. So we may be significantly under budgeted because when we put this together starting in January and February, you know, our fuel costs were much less than what's going now, and we can't, normally we're locked into contracts well before this budget meeting, so we know basically what it's going to cost us per gallon. Nobody will give us a contract for a set dollar amount. So this is going to be a article or a section of our budget that's going to have to be closely monitored, and will probably require at the end of the year some movement from funds where we might have a little extra into this, and hopefully there won't be that significant that we don't have to come back for a special meeting to ask for funds at the end, because we can't run a deficit like other places. You can run a deficit and catch it up. Schools are not allowed to do that. So hopefully we don't have to stop running buses and heating the schools next March. But, you know, so I just wanted to be upfront with everybody that this is a real guesstimate on what our fuel costs are going to be. We're going to do our best or the transportation department and administrators to meet this, but just as a heads up, it's a real risk.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. Article 9, to see what sum Regional School Unit Number 4 shall be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance. The Board of Directors recommends $3,110,093. Motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? It's been seconded. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 10, to see what sum Regional School Unit Number 4 shall be authorized to expend for debt service and other commitments. The Board of Directors recommends $472,244. Motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved. Is there a second? It has been seconded. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 11, to see what sum Regional School Unit Number 4 shall be authorized to expend for all other expenditures. The Board of Directors recommends $100,000. Motion, please.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Questions or discussion?
So, would you like me to take that? Yes. Yeah, so this article is help fund the food service program in RSU4. Food service in RSU4 is an enterprise account like it is in all other school districts in the state. Unfortunately, it doesn't fund itself fully through just sales. So historically, the board has put money into it from the regular budget. If you remember, year over year, this has come down. It was $142,000 a few years ago. It was $125,000 a few years after that, and now we're down to $100,000. So our food service program has gotten healthier, but this is how we keep the food service program whole because we cannot run a deficit.
Mr. English.
Yeah, now's a good time to put a plug in for all of those people who received the free and reduced lunch paperwork. Even if you're not qualified, fill it out. Even though the state is paying for breakfasts and lunches, we get a better reimbursement if we have those papers on file and we're given the lunch and meal based upon the eligibility for free or reduced lunches. So anybody out there that's listening on the live stream and anybody in here that has students, when that paperwork comes out, please fill it out so that we can get the full reimbursement that we can get, and perhaps we don't need this type of article going forward.
Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. Article 12, shall Regional School Unit Number 4 appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and shall Regional School Unit Number 4 raise and assess the amount set forth below as each municipality's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act in accordance with Maine Revised Statutes Title 20A, Section 15688. The recommended amounts to be set forth below listed by town. Litchfield, $5,478,790. Sabattis, $8,576,904. Wales, $2,869,372. Sum of the above totals $16,941,904. $925,066. Correct, that is the appropriated amount. The total raised by town district assessments, Litchfield, $2,683,327. Sabattis, $2,252,712. Wales, $880,755. Regional school unit total raised, sum of the above, $5,816,793. The Board of Directors recommends a yes vote. Motion, please.
So moved.
The motion is for a yes vote? Is that correct?
For a yes vote.
And is that the second for a yes vote? Yes. It's been moved and seconded for a yes vote. Questions or discussion?
I always have to ask this, are you sure that these numbers are correct?
Yes.
Double, triple check?
Yes.
1 year, we got in a little dilemma,
Yep.
I believe.
Yep.
Even with the corrected paper handed out tonight.
Yep.
Question was understood and answered in the affirmative. Any other questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 13 will be a written ballot as required by state law. Shall Regional School Unit Number 4 raise and appropriate $1,752,630 in additional local funds, which exceeds the state's Essential Programs and Services funding model by $1,752,630, as required to fund the budget recommendation by the Board of Directors. Motion, please.
So moved.
It has been moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, Miss Patty, what color are we voting with? Yellow? Okay. This will be a written ballot. Seeing no further discussion, we will be voting. You will get your yellow ballot from your clerk. The ballot box is in the back of the building, back of the gymnasium. Again, this will be a written ballot. This is a yes or no. A yes vote would approve. A no vote would not. I declare the ballot box opened.
My extra ones are usually in the car. And they are not. Yours are a little stronger than mine, so it took me a minute.
Yeah, sorry. I saw the head move.
You have to vote.
Is this portable? Can I take this with me?
You absolutely can take it. Is there an off button? Yes, there is. On the bottom.
Has everyone voted who wishes? Does anybody need assistance to the ballot box? Seeing none, I will declare the ballot box closed.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Yeah. It used to be hard to get kids to do it the first time. And you pick certain kids that can do it. Right. And once one kid does it, other ones want to do it. And you go, no, it'll be, Yeah. What I used to like to do is when they were on second base, I'd tell them get a big lead. Get a big lead.
Yeah, I love it.
Don't go halfway down because they'll throw to third. Just keep walking. Just keep going. Just keep moving.
All right, there are 31 voters present. There was 28 ballots cast, 22 yes, 6 no. The motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Article 14, to see what sum the regional school unit will authorize the Board of Directors to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2022, and ending June 30, 2023, from the regional school unit's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, non-state funded school construction projects, additional local funds for school purposes under the Maine Revised Statutes, Title 20A, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and other receipts for the support of schools. The Board of Directors recommends $21,291,591. Motion, please.
So moved.
It has been moved and seconded. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Do I need to read the note or just go right to Article 15? You go right to the warrant article. Okay. Article 15, to see if Regional School Unit Number 4 will appropriate the sum of $102,461 for adult education and raise the sum of $50,000 as the local share for the year beginning July 1, 2022 and ending June 30, 2023, with authorization to expend any additional, incidental, or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and well-being of the adult education program. The Board of Directors recommends a yes vote. Motion, please.
Yes, I make a motion to recommend a yes vote.
Motion is for a yes vote. Is there a second? Second. It has been seconded. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. Article 16. In addition to amounts approved in the preceding articles, shall the Regional School Unit Number 4 Board of Directors be authorized to expend such other funds as may be received from the federal or state grants or programs or other sources during the fiscal year for school purposes, provided that such grants, programs, or other sources do not require the expenditure of other funds not previously appropriated. The Board of Directors recommends a yes vote. Motion, please.
Yes, I make a motion that we recommend a yes vote.
Motion is for a yes vote. Is there a second? It has been seconded. Questions or discussion? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Those opposed? That motion carries. I would just like to remind people that this is part one of a two-part process. There is a budget validation process, and that vote will take place. The polls will be open on June 14th from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. at your local polling stations in all three towns, Litchfield Sportsman's Club, Sabattis Town Office, and Wales Town Office. Wales will be opened at 7 a.m. as the overachiever in the group. You get a gold star. Absentee ballots are available. You can request them either online or at your local town office. With no further business to...
If I may, Mr. Moderator, I'd like to remind everybody that every 3 years we have to take a vote on whether or not we want to continue the two-step process. This is the third year, so there will be another question on the referendum asking us if we want to keep the referendum. We have to keep this budget vote. So the options is we could just have this. That would set the budget. There would be no vote, no referendum. And so that would be I think the recommendation is that my recommendation is that we keep the two steps. But if the townspeople don't approve that we keep the two-step, then it would end tonight. That would be the budget. The other residents would have no say. So that question is going to be on the referendum. So when you see it, don't be surprised. That's required by state statute to do every 2 years.
With no further business to come before this budget meeting, I declare the meeting adjourned. I thank you all for coming tonight.